Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and I hope you had a good weekend. I'm going to do a technical analysis on the market going into the first week of May. We got a couple events to talk about, so let's get right into it. Starting off with the Nonfarm payroll, it's the first Friday of every month. It's going to show us whether we are increasing or decreasing in jobs. The results will show how the economy is doing based on expectations. I find this important, especially on what we understood from last week's FOMC meeting. We got to hear Jerome Powell talk on inflation and why it's not the time to talk about tapering. He did say we do see inflation, but has not yet met inflationary expectations. He stated expectations are for inflation to stay above 2% and to see an increase in employment. For me, the way I understood this is pretty much a green light that we can see more inflation in the economy in both the real estate and equity market. So higher prices in real estate is possible to come. Besides that, we have earnings next week, following up from the biggest earnings last week, which was about 20 to 30% of the entire S&P 500. These are the few companies I'm going to be paying attention to going into next week. I'll be watching Lyft after following its bad news from the Secretary of Labor. T-Mobile for its 5G network and plans to have their own internet. And based off what Biden said last week, I know one of his plans is to bring better internet speeds across the US. I'm also going to be watching Zillow just based off the real estate market being so hot. Rocket Mortgage on Wednesday, another real estate stock that a lot of people are using when buying a home. Uber after hours on Wednesday following Lyft's earnings. Viacom on Thursday just because of the level it's sitting at after the news of a hedge fund selling about 30 million shares. We also got EXP, another real estate stock. It's also a company that I work for. AMC for a possible Reddit pump. Personally, I don't like to play earnings reports. I'd rather play the earnings run-up or its continuation. And reason why is just because we can have a good earnings and still see the stock fall for different reasons, maybe like it had higher expectations or the stock was already priced in. So no more left into it, let's get right into technicals. Let's zoom out on the S&P 500 and take a look at the month of May of last year, where we actually got to see some gains in the month of May, and compare that to where we're sitting at now. Going into May, we've been trading sideways in this magenta channel that I have drawn out here, with the resistance at 1474, where we did see a breakout on Thursday but failed to stay above. Came back down here on Friday, right back into that channel. We got some support at 410.42. If we break below support, I do see the SPY coming back down to retest the 394.76 level. For the Dow Jones, same thing, we're trading sideways. Resistance at 341.62, support level at 337.34. A break below its support level at 337.34. I do see the Dow Jones coming back to retest 338.28. For the NASDAQ, pretty much the same thing as well, trading in this channel. Resistance at 14,000, support level at 13,700. A break below support, I do see the NASDAQ coming back down to retest 13,268. If we do break above and stay above 14,000 level, referring back to the Fibonacci levels, we can possibly see the NASDAQ come up to 14,614. Now let's look at some technical analysis from some earning reports that I mentioned earlier. Lyft, it's holding up that 50 SMA. If it breaks below that 50 SMA, I do see Lyft coming back down to 50.51. If it could bounce from the 50 SMA, it's going to come back to retest its resistance, which was before support at 59.10. If it could get above resistance at 59.10, it's right back in this channel. T-Mobile, it's been trading in this channel ever since the break of November into this channel. I have resistance at 135.85 and support at 116. Right now it looks like it's approaching that resistance at 135.85, kind of looking like it would form a double top. So I want to see whether it's going to break that resistance to the upside or it's going to get rejected. Again, we have earnings next week for T-Mobile. Now let's look at Rocket Mortgage. Kind of been trading in this descending triangle for the last couple of weeks ever since Reddit pump back in March. I have resistance 23.25 for Rocket Mortgage. I want to see it break above that and then test 25.05 and get above that. Above 25.05, I'm very bullish for Rocket Mortgage. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin did not lose that 49,000 level last weekend. Everyone was watching that 49,000 level. Bitcoin did not break that level. If it would have broke that level, that Bitcoin possibly would come down to 40,000. It did not. Instead, it's bouncing, broke through these SMAs. Right now, it's kind of retesting that SMA, and now we're retesting resistance at 58,245. If it gets rejected here at 58,245 and loses as SMA, I do see Bitcoin coming back down to retest this support level at 49,000. Just remember, we ran up the entire month of April after following in the month of March. We look a bit overextended at all-time highs, so don't freak out if we see the market correct a bit. But again, don't think just because it's sell in May, go away, that the market will correct. We are still in a strong bull trend, but yes, in my opinion, in the short term, we may see some selling. Also pay attention to rotations, like in the month of March, when majority of the tech sector got hit, some Dow components held up very well. And in the month of April, we got to see growth/tech bounce back. So watch for rotation. This is my weekend update. Thank you all, and see you next time.